Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 305 of the Aussie Gamers Experience podcast. Joining me on deck tonight is Lucas and Grejio to once again go over the week that was. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some The Last of Us Part 2, cyber delays, Skate, new inductees, an unfortunate time in space, more, and more internet snowflakes, and there'll still be a little bit more. Editing Lucas, let's go!
This is the Aussie Gamers Experience video game podcast. This show is recorded during temperatures in summer that are too hot for dragons and in winter colder than my mother-in-law's heart. So join us as we discuss video games as best we can, all while dodging redback spiders, brown snakes, and all those other things that try to hurt, maim, or even kill us. But remember, all we need to do is stay alive long enough to see the release of that next awesome video game. Enjoy the show.
Thank you everyone for tuning into episode 305 this week. Today is Monday, the 22nd of June, 2020. Grejio, welcome to the podcast, mate. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
Good stuff. It's always a nice way to start off the week, the podcast.
Yeah,
it's not like it's work day anyway. Luke, how you travelling, mate?
Mate, I am insanely tired, so my fuse is short. So, Greg, if you start rambling on about some fucking race car game and telling us about the intricate details of shit that no one cares about, I'm gonna snap.
Challenge accepted.
Otherwise, we should be good. Right,
Good
I'm here.
stuff. Skrill. So people are going to be throwing a bit of a challenge in the chat, I believe, tonight to see what sort of things. What can we do to set off Lucas?
Even Radicus is saying do a car game.
Oh, trust me. With the people we've got in the chat, which is Atan, Azrael, Radicus, Skrill, Uncle Chunt, between those guys and you guys that I'm doing the show with, you don't need to try real hard. Yous will fucking work it out. Oh, look, here we go already! That's another one! Don't make me get the shits too early. I've got to read off this piece of paper. All right. I just deleted that message there. That's going to be a new hashtag on Twitter soon.
Oh, God. Yep. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live. Let's get into this week in gaming, shall we? All the way back to 1996. This week we saw the release of Quake, the original. And I know everyone here's played it.
Yeah.
Played it lots.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't play it lots.
No?
No, my computer wasn't good enough to run Quake back then. I had to run Doom in like the minus. You press the minus key.
Yeah.
I had to shrink it all the way down to the size of a Nokia 5110 screen.
My computer wasn't good enough either, but that was during the days of I would go out with my friends and we go to places where they used to have LAN setups. Like, remember they actually used to have LAN shops. Like,
Yeah, there was one. There was one or two in the Riff, wasn't there?
Well, I went to one.
Oh, you would have been in the Riff at that time.
No, I was in the Riff. Yeah, but by the time I started playing Quake regularly, it was kind of later in my teens, and I had a mate that lived out at not Northmead, out that way anyway, out near Parramatta, and we used to go to a place out there, like an internet cafe, but it was purely for LAN gaming. That was all it was there for.
Nice.
Yeah, Unreal Tournament was another one. We played lots of stuff there, but Quake was one of them. We also played lots of Command and Conquer and Serious Sam and all sorts of weird and wonderful shit. But
Awesome.
yeah, Quake.
Well, of
was
course, published and developed by ID Software, has been pretty much a staple since '96 to have some version of Quake going around. Even to this day, I still jump on Quake Champions every now and again and get absolutely slaughtered.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a lot of fun. One bit of interesting trivia. The original game had software rendering mode only. So it was only software that was doing it. But if you had a good old 3D accelerated card, you could download GL Quake.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just made it fancier. I think it was a higher resolution or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it took use of the actual having, like the 3D accelerated card was pretty much your first style of, graphics card.
Yeah.
So it was a hardware accelerated graphics instead of software accelerated.
I remember back in the day, like what you were alluding to there is instead of upgrading your graphics card like we do today for more performance, back in the day, all you needed to do was install a better driver and it would make it perform better. Do you remember like the VESA
yes.
drivers and shit like that? You would, like, my mate gave it to me on a 3.5-inch floppy disk and said, "Here, install this, games will run better." And I did, and they did. That was how you got better performance back in the day.
Part of getting a new game was literally installing the brand new drivers for that game. You'd spend more time downloading that stuff than the actual game itself.
Downloading? Don't think that was a thing.
Well, you know what I mean.
What you had to do is, if you had a particularly wealthy friend that had 2 floppy drives, you could copy one to the other. If you were a pauper and only had one, like I did, you literally had to switch them out. Like you would actually hit what was it, like A, or was it A drive? Was that commonly?
Like that,
I think it was like A or B, something like A drive, copy *** to A drive, and then you would like press enter and it would go and all that sort of shit for like 15 minutes, and then it would prompt you to change the floppy disk. So you would take that one out and put the other one in, and then it would do it again for another 15-20 minutes, and then it would be copied. And then you try it and you realise that it was half corrupted during it, so you'd have to start again, and you'd crack the shits and probably give up. But that was our life.
And go and pay the $3 for the shareware special.
Now all we do is we put a thumb drive into a USB port, right-click copy, and then right-click paste. Done. That's how you do it. That's, jeez. Yep. You kids of today don't know how hard we had it.
Bloody kids these days.
Well, then you've got Radicus in the chat thinking, geez, I had to type in the game code from a book of codes for different games to run. I didn't even have them on disk. Because that was a thing.
C ... and then whatever.
He had a box of cards that were in a very specific order and they had holes punched in them.
Oh, jeez.
You had to feed them in one at a time. If you got them out of order, tough shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, off topic there. Quake was cool.
Yeah, rocket jumping.
Quake was a lot of fun. Quake still was a lot of fun.
What was Quake about?
Blowing shit up.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was originally the original concept was to do with ID's D&D campaign they actually had, where the D&D campaign actually ended with demons destroying the universe. But the D&D campaign was more of a medieval setting. So the original Quake was going to have swords, dragons, and all this sort of stuff in it, but they ended up changing it out to being a shooter.
Yeah, right. But see, when I was little, this is how stupid I was. I knew about Quake, although I didn't play it very much. I knew all about Quake, and my friends were right into it. And then I heard about this place called Quakers Hill, and I actually thought that this place was where you went to play Quake.
Play Quake.
Yeah. And then I also heard about the Quakers, because Quakers is like it's like a religion or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I'm thinking, I want to be part of this religion. It's like a video game cult. That's how stupid a child I was, because kids are fucking stupid, and I was one once, and I was among the stupidest.
No.
Oh, dear. Is that relevant to anything I just said, that what Radicus just put in the chat then?
No, it's just that's just a Radicism.
Okay, good, because I wasn't sure if I had made some sort of comment that had anything to do with anal beads. But
Beyblades.
Well, we started talking about young people stuff and he got bored and put up a picture.
Okay, let's move on from that.
Right, game talk. Game's currently playing. Take us off with some more Last of Us, Luke. You've been playing it as well as I've haven't been playing it as much as you, but been going back for round 2.
Yeah, well, look, I'm not going to go on too much about it because this is the third week in a row that we have talked about it, but it's something that I have been putting the most of my gaming time into, and specifically because my wife loved The Last of Us as well. Now, she's not a gamer, so she doesn't want to play the game, but she wants me to play it for her. So my second time round, I'm only playing it when she's available to watch it. So it's kind of like movie night for us, where I'll sit and I'll play it for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and she watches, and her reactions to the shit that's going on is actually really interesting for me. You know, she'll see what's going on, and, you know, she'll make comments as to what she thinks happening, and I'll ask her, I say, do you get what's going on? And she'll sort of give her sort of interpretation, and it's really interesting. But my wife, seriously, she shits me with how accurate she can predict things. Like, she'll go, oh, that person did it in the first 10 minutes of a whodunit show. I'm like, how do you know that? And then sure as shit, she's right. Sort of does my head in a little bit. But yeah, it's so we're enjoying it together. It's being a really cool experience. But the game is great. I'm happy to play it again the second time because I'm picking up on little... Because I know I'm jumping around a little bit here and it's not an excellent way to explain things. But you know how when, like, The Last of Us timeline jumps around a bit? So you'll play like current time, you'll go back 3-4 years, you'll go back a couple of months, you go forwards and backwards. It gets a little bit jumpy, right? It's not too hard to follow, but there are some things that will make a lot of sense, a lot more sense, and be a little bit more obvious once you know how the story plays out. So if you go back and play it again, you'll pick up on little things that didn't mean anything to you the first time because you don't know what's going on. But now that you know what's going on and what's happened, you'll pick up on extra little bits, and it makes me think, geez, these guys are like, it's brilliant. It's just absolutely brilliant where they've put in all these things that if like a keen eye could pick up on and sort of grab the story early on, but I'm obviously a little bit too thick, so I get it the second time round, which is good. But it's simply fantastic. Now, I've got a little bit more about what I'm going to talk, a little bit more about The Last of Us Part 2, which I'm going to be putting as a news item. But it's not an article that I've seen anywhere. It's not particularly news everywhere. It's something that I have witnessed myself. And I think it's worth bringing up as a bit of news because it's something that's happening. But yeah, I'm loving the game. I can't fault it, but I'm biased because I'm sucked in by the Last of Us world. The characters are brilliant. The gameplay is fantastic. The graphics are some of the best that I've ever seen. I bought the collector's edition on was it last Friday when it came out? So I got the collector's edition. Yeah, on release day. So I've been playing the review copy, which was just a digital code. And when the game actually released, I got my pre-ordered collector's edition. And man, that thing is beautiful. It'd want to be because it was bloody expensive, but it's so good. Big statue. It's got the game in a steelbook. It's got a art book. It's got like a letter from Neil Druckmann that's in like a little kind of like a frame, but just like a cardboard frame. And it's also got some pins and the bracelet that you get in-game. So Ellie gets given a bracelet from Dina, and that bracelet was part of the pack as well. So all in all, I'm very happy with it. It's beautiful. If you want to see it, it is in the Last of Us channel on our Discord. So you can check out, there's a few photos on there. But I didn't do an unboxing, and I decided not to do an unboxing because I wanted that experience. It was a bit selfish. I wanted the experience for myself. I didn't want to be talking to a camera and going through all the stuff. I wanted to open it all up and just look at it for myself. So that was my reasoning behind that. So I just did it.
And after a while, it's hard to talk with a boner.
It would have been inappropriate.
Can't form words. Sentences.
Can't form words.
Falling apart.
Too much pretty. Good. Cool. Done. All right. I jumped back into some Fortnite this week.
Oh, Fortnite.
Yeah. I was talking to. Oh yeah, because we're
gonna do the Save the Planet thing.
Yeah. So I was talking to Roscoe on the weekend, and he was saying that because he actually got the Save the World Founders Pack back in the day, and he was saying that it's actually gone free now, and I had a look online. There was a few things online that said that the Save the World section had gone free to play. So I went, all right, sweet. Went and downloaded it again. 38 gig download Fortnite is now.
What's that, about 4 minutes? Oh, sorry. No.
Yeah. Well, it might as well have been 4 minutes because I hit start and went to bed, and when I woke up the next day, it was done. So all good.
Nice.
Long story short, I still suck at Fortnite. The new map's pretty cool. The new way that they've done the map's pretty cool, though it is very hard to get around because it's mostly water. But Save the World is not free. It's still coming up as, coming free soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying. That's good. It's still Fortnite, nothing overly exciting.
Did you get your ass handed to you or what?
No, I finished. I only played one game, and I think I finished 13th or something. So it wasn't too bad. I had 2 kills. But, yes, it's not me. I don't do overly well in it anymore. So
yeah, too hard for me. I'm not real good at Battle Royale.
All right, Luke, do you want to take us on a trek with Unfortunate Spaceman?
Yes, Unfortunate Spaceman. Now, this game appears to have been around since the dawn of time. However, I had no idea that it existed. But thank you very much, Atan. You wanted your shout out, you cheeky son of a bitch, so you get it. He suggested this game. He put it up in the Discord channel and said, try this game out, it's cool. And we did, and we played it, and it's actually really cool for a free game. And it's got a couple of, is there 3 game modes? There's like a campaign, there's a asymmetric multiplayer game where one person is a monster, the rest are humans trying to complete some objectives or just kill the monster. And then there is like I think it's like a wave defense mode that you can do where you just got to survive as long as you can against these monsters and all that sort of stuff. And all 3 of those modes are free, and there doesn't even seem to be any push for you to buy all the extra bits. You can pay for like cosmetics, like helmets, and because you're a spaceman, helmets, coloured things. That's about all I can remember that was on there. Just customizable things. But you don't even really need to do that, and it doesn't matter if you do or you don't. And it is really good fun. And there's heaps of players that can play. Like, I think the asymmetric multiplayer is 16. 1 to 16 players. The campaign is, I think that's less. 1 to 6.
6, I think.
Atan's helping me out. 1 to 6. See, 6 players. That's good. That's normally you get 4 in a campaign like that. But 1 to 6, that's fancy. And I haven't tried the wave defense just yet.
No, neither have I.
But this is a free game. I recommend anyone with a half-decent PC, doesn't even need to be amazing, grab Unfortunate Spaceman on Steam. It's a free-to-play game, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to play with your friends. And it's really easy to get your friends in on it too, because it doesn't cost anything. So you don't even have to sell it to them. You're just get it. We're going to play it. Get it. So yeah, that's a really cool game. And there's plenty of different maps you can play on, and the monster can shapeshift, and it can shift into the actual players. So when you go in, you'll have a particular colour, you'll have a name. Your name might be turquoise or apple or something. It comes up with some weird random names. And it actually happened to me once where the monster came through, but it was shapeshifted into a human. And
yes.
Doesn't
their name come up as well?
And the name comes up. And I actually said to you other guys, I'm like, which one of you guys is orange? Any of you guys? Anyone? Who's orange? Because I'm trying to work out if that's one of you guys or if that's the monster. And then I looked down in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen. My name was orange. I'm like, oh shit, that's the monster. And it was. What a sneaky son of a bitch. But you can set traps for him. But the traps, if you accidentally walk into them yourself, you can shoot yourself out into space and kill yourself. You can go and do sort of objectives, or you can take the monster on head on. Amazing game. I love it. Excellent job,
A10. You're standing there at the front lines doing all the shooting, and then someone's in the background with a rocket launcher and takes you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who would do that.
I don't know who would do something like that.
There is friendly fire in the co-op
There
stuff.
is.
So, yeah.
I just loved how nonchalant A10 was about that. He's like, oh, yeah, by the way, Snoogs, there's friendly fire because you're both running around on fire.
Yeah, you go nuts with the flamethrower. There's me with the rocket launcher.
There you go. All right, so that was Unfortunate Spaceman. Keep an eye out. And, if we're playing it again, we'll let you know and anyone can jump in with us and have a bit of fun. Next game for me is the Summer of Mara. So have anyone heard of this one?
I don't think so.
No, so I believe it's available on... Well, I know it's available on the Switch because I'm playing it on the Switch. I believe it's on PC as well. So it's... Well, to look at it in a negative view, it's a fetch quest simulator. But it's a cute little kind of... Who's that guy that does Howl's Moving Castle?
Miyazaki.
So it's got that kind of feel to it. And it's... You play as a little girl who lives on this island who's trying to go onto an adventure. But, to get this adventure, you've got to do certain things on the island, like fix up a well, plant carrots, go and give a food offering to this thing, fix up the boat, fix up the dock. It just ends up being by the way, today you've got to go and do this. You've got to go and catch fish so that you can make your fish dish with the carrots that you've made, so that you don't starve. It's one of those games where it can be looked at in both lights. And one of the things that I enjoy about it is that it's something that I can play with the kids around. The kids can play it. Over the weekend, my niece was here, who's 10, and it's intuitive enough that she could pick it up and just go.
All right. Well, what I want to know is that I'm looking at screenshots of it right now, and it looks like a little girl on a beach or in a veggie garden.
Yep.
Does it play good? Like, is the controls satisfying?
The controls are very satisfying, except that I cannot invert it, and so it's
not an issue.
It's not really a thing because I'm the odd one out.
No, you're not. Invert.
Yeah, well, if you pull down, the camera moves down, whereas I'm used to it moving up. So it's just
burn that game.
burn it all. But other than that, mate, like it's full 3D. You can move it around. You can have a look at everything. You don't really get injured or anything. So there doesn't seem to be any level of violence to it, or even sort of hurt from jumping off somewhere too high. It's a very relaxing, easy game to just sit back and play for a little while. Uncle Chunt's put in the chat Animal Crossing. This game is the reason I didn't get Animal Crossing the other day.
I don't know how to take that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to take that either.
Is it, I didn't get Animal Crossing because this one is scratching the itch without having to get Animal Crossing, or I didn't get Animal Crossing because if it's anything like this, I'm going to hate it?
Well, I only had enough room for one, and this one won out.
No, it's
a coin toss.
It's probably a little bit of column A and B. Okay. If this is what Animal Crossing's like, then meh, I'm not going to bother with it. But this has got enough that it kind of feels like a mobile game with controllers, but you've got a bit more control over it.
Well, it's on the Switch. It is a mobile game.
Pretty much. You can walk around with it, walk around the house.
Correct.
Yeah. So look, I'm still playing it. I've got about, I think, 5 or 6 hours into it so far. I'll let my niece play it for about half an hour the other day, and she was just going around, just doing a little thing. Kind of, she's at the age now where she just focuses in on it. You can talk to her; she won't listen to you. She's just focused on that, and it's a bit of fun, and it's just switch off your brain type fun.
Well, if you're 5 hours into it, it mustn't be all bad. There you go. Good work.
Yeah. Well, I've had some early nights this week, so I've been laying in bed playing the Switch. And
it's a bit more productive than what I do in bed.
Oh, mate, on to Everspace 2.
Right, Everspace 2. Here's another game that maybe you guys could ask me, why the fuck are you playing that? Well, it was
I was
offered
surprised to
to
see
me.
it come
I think
through.
we should just rename this entire show to "Why the fuck are you playing that?"
Well, maybe that'll be this week's title. But this game as well was offered to me by the lovely people that gave it to me. I don't know what they're called, but they gave me a closed alpha code on Steam to play Everspace 2. Now, I've heard of Everspace.
Nice.
I know a little bit about the first one, but not a lot. Never played it, really. So I've downloaded it, gave it a bit of a go, and it looks really nice. The graphics are beautiful. The controls are good. But the first thing that sort of caught me off guard was like, hang on a minute, this is voice acted. But that's text-to-speech. That's not actually voice actors. I was really thrown off by that because it dead set sounded like a Space Wars game where a whole bunch of sat-navs have gotten together and got into a big argument, because it was like like a sat-nav talks, like turn left at the next intersection, take the third exit. It's kind of like that, the dialogue. However, I was happy when I saw with the little thing that pops up with the subtitles, it actually says temporary voiceover or something like that. Because it's in closed alpha, they probably haven't recorded all the voice acting just yet, but apparently it will be fully voice acted, which is nice to know. And then I really thought, you know what, that's probably a nice little touch to at least have something in there to kind of tie it all together. But it doesn't really work, though. The text-to-speech sounds funny. Like the word strafe, it says, I think it pronounces it struff, perform a struff, and
what's struff?
yeah, there's a few words that just don't come out right. I did do a preview video. It's a long one because I wanted to show off as much of it as I could. So it is on our YouTube channel right now. Went up there tonight. Yep. So you can check it out, have a look at what I'm talking about. And yeah, there was a point where I felt it was very Star Fox, because one of my AI companion dudes in his ship was like, they're on me, help me out, sort of thing. And I'm like, just do a barrel roll, dude. But it is actually a pretty good space shooter. Now, there is a lot of stuff in the game that I either didn't get up to or isn't in the closed alpha. So like all the weapons and stuff that you can unlock. But I actually quite like this game. But the problem is I don't want to play it. But the reason why I don't want to play it is because it's a closed alpha. It's way too early. I seriously don't know why they wanted me to play this. I don't know why they want anyone to play this in its current state, because
it'd just be for bugs and that. They'd probably see if, someone who's used to critiquing a game.
No, well, I'm not. They're not asking me to beta test it or alpha test it. They've asked me to do an editorial and show off the game. And the game looks great. The graphics look really well polished. And the gameplay is really good too, with a couple of nuances, some little things that are annoying that, can be fixed up in betas and the final release, but which is quite a while away from here, because the open or the early access beta is slated for December this year. So I don't even have a clue when this game is going to be released. So I don't really understand why they're getting this to get to sort of put it out there now. I suppose they want the word out there, but the game's not in a...
Look, guys, maybe they're just proud. They're proud of what they've got so far. Like I said, if the gameplay is good and the graphics are good, then for an alpha, that's
it is. It is, absolutely. The game's going in the right direction. It has really cool, those like comic book style cutscenes where they're kind of animated, but they're not.
Yep.
I actually really like those, and it has those. And some of them were actually completed the voice acting, so you could actually get the character voices, which are really cool. So I've played that, and as much as I don't really want to play it anymore because I know the game's not finished, I actually really do look forward to a final version of this game. I think it'll be really good. I don't know, if you liked Everspace or if you like what I'm talking about, check it out. I have that video up there. It'll show you a good hour's worth of gameplay and my sort of commentary over the top of it. But maybe it might be something for your wish lists around. But yeah, it's coming to PC and consoles as well.
Yeah, apparently there's a demo on Steam at the moment you can try out.
Is there?
Yeah, so I was just having a look, and it come up that there's a demo and then planned release date, Steam Early Access, December 2020.
Well, I wonder if that's different to what I've played.
Oh, well, I'll download it and have a crack.
Okay.
And have a look for you. Well, that's it for the games that we have, but we did forget about a few games this week that we've played over the last few days. Ark.
Oh, yes.
There's a reason we forgot about that. So
there's a reason we forgot about that.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that, do you?
I know quite a few people who
play
talk
Ark.
that game up.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
But shit,
They weren't friends. I'd say some pretty horrible things about them.
A10 is one of them. And I did think he's a loon. That game's rubbish. I spawned underneath a building and couldn't get out.
You couldn't get out because it was someone else's building and they were offline, so you couldn't break it.
Yeah, and I couldn't even kill myself. I would have had to have waited there until I starved to death, and I decided that the easiest possible way to do that was Alt F4. That game's shit. It also ran really bad on my PC. Like, it is not optimized. I played this game many, many years ago on Steam because it was bought for me by Repremier, and it ran like shit then. When you suggested let's play it because it was free on Epic Game Store a couple of weeks ago, I thought, it's been quite a few years since I played that. Surely it's been upgraded and optimized. No. It's not. It's shit. Hated it.
Mind you, a person that I played quite a bit of Division with, she played it with a group of people the other night for 5 hours, and apparently has absolutely loved it. So it might just be getting on with someone who actually knows what they're doing. It's kind of like No Man's Sky, because we played that as well on PC. Yes, we did. And we kind of knew what we were doing, as knew what she was doing, and it's nothing. Even with all the updates and all the changes and everything, it still just kind of just feels the same. Feels a bit empty.
Well, it's one of those games, though, you'd probably want to invest quite a fair bit of time into working out its mechanics and how to do everything. And it takes a long time to work out that stuff. And I don't know, my particular point in time is that I've got bigger and better things, in my opinion, that I'd prefer to be playing than spending a lot of time working out how to play, say, No Man's Sky. So that's probably why I didn't really like it. But that game, though, I'm not going to say is shit. Like it's rag on Ark. No Man's Sky is decent.
I've got quite a few hours in No Man's Sky, and I've actually gotten quite a way through it. But when you go and start and play with others, and then you've got to start a new game, and you get thrown right back at the beginning, and everything's gone. You've got to start again, and like the first planet that we were put on was this radioactive wasteland that just was trying to kill us from the outset. It was just a bit of a, come on, really? This is what you're going to do? Hey, it's still looking pretty. It's on Game Pass at the moment, so if you've got it,
I liked No Man's Sky before it was cool.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Watch my review. I did a review when it launched.
No, I know you did. Yep.
And I rated it. I actually quite enjoyed it. It was good. It didn't fit the mold of what everyone was expecting, but I actually quite enjoyed it. But it sort of pitted off a little bit and got a little bit samey. But I actually had a good time, and I put quite a few hours into it back then. But I don't know. Just not for me anymore.
Well, that's it. Unless, Greg, did you come up with anything? I know you said you haven't got much to talk about this week.
No, I barely played anything. I've been flat out this week, but I played a little bit of Minecraft and a fair amount of Forza Street, but you guys don't want to hear about that.
No. I'm an arsehole. I'm an arsehole at the best of times, mate. Catch me when I've had no sleep, I swear.
You'll have to come and check out my new villager jail that I made too, Greg. All right, boys, let's go into some news for the week, shall we? Kick off the top of the news, Luke, with the internet is whinging about The Last of Us 2.
Yes.
And in particular, yours was around the trailers, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Now, this is a big thing. And it's not something that I disagree with. I understand. But doesn't bother me. But get this. This is the scenario. Paint you a picture. Those trailers that were released before the game was released, even the one going back probably 12 months ago where they might have even been longer than that. But when they announced that The Last of Us Part 2 was a thing, and do you remember that video they showed us? And it was Ellie sitting on the edge of the bed, and Joel walked. Yeah, I think she was on the guitar. Yep. And then Joel walks in, and he says, "You sure you want to do this, kiddo?" And then she says, "I'm going to kill every last one of them." That one in particular, not even in the game. Doesn't exist. However, there's some other ones which I'm not going to point out what is different, okay, but there are a couple of other trailers that they have released and all that sort of stuff that have been completely changed. And the internet is in a massive uproar because they're claiming that Naughty Dog lied to us and tricked us into thinking that one thing would happen when a completely different thing actually occurred at those points in the game. Now, in Naughty Dog's defense, and I'm going to take both sides of the argument here rather than being a fanboy, in Naughty Dog's defense, I believe they do that for the sake of not spoiling shit when they show us things. So they don't want to lead us down a particular assumption on what happens in the game. I understand that. But then on the other side of the fence, we get people going, all right, well, I'm expecting this thing to happen and I'm excited for that. But then when you actually play the game, that's not how it happens at all. And you're disappointed because that's not what you were expecting. And I completely understand that.
Every day of the week.
Well, they do, but I think with movies, they more so just creatively edit, whereas with this is as a video game, they completely changed characters in the scene. It wasn't, the character that might have been there is a completely different character that says those lines. It was
like 100%.
Flat out lies.
I know exactly the ones you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it is some people could look at it as it being you lied to us. But if you really go out of your way to think that a video game company has lied to you to stop spoiling something or, get a fucking life, really.
Yeah, but look,
they've come along and they've created this sensation. They've created this atmosphere to get so many people intrigued about what was going to happen. And the game itself is a sequel. So ever since that first one come out, when Joel walks into the room, and says, "Are you sure you want to do this, kiddo?" Ever since that point, people who played the first game were talking about it. How is it that Ellie looks so full of rage because she could barely hold, she could barely start strumming the guitar because her hand was shaking so badly? How has she got that rage?
I completely understand it. Just going into the chat where Uncle Chunt is here, he goes, "Filthy bait and switch. I've lived through the hashtag release the Snyder Cut. I know about setting an expectation and getting something completely different." Now, that is pretty much what Naughty Dog have done, is they gave an expectation to the audience and then it was a bait and switch, and that's not what happens in the final game. Now, I'm fine with that. Absolutely fine with that because I'm happy with how the game played out. But yeah, a lot of people are actually quite pissed off about it. And as much as I want to say, just shut up and enjoy the game, I think they're right. I think they're right to be a bit annoyed by those trailers.
No. I'm on the opposite end, mate. A bunch of fucking snowflakes. Just get over it.
But how would you feel, Greg, if you bought the next Forza and it had a Lamborghini? This is just any car that I know of. Lamborghini Gallardo on the front cover, and that car's not even in the fucking game.
Yeah, no, it's the exact same. It's bullshit.
I think that's a bit of a shit go.
It is. It is to mislead people on the product that you're selling, regardless of how you do it. It's not cool.
But then again, I understand why they did it, because they didn't want to give shit away.
Yeah.
But then again, looking at from another point of view, did they do that?
There's other ways and means of doing that.
Did they do that because they didn't want to turn people off by showing what actually happens? I don't know.
Yeah, the trailers that they showed, and they are completely misleading. But for me personally, anytime the section of the game come up where I saw that trailer, it was a section of like it was something that enjoyed. It's like, oh shit, that's what happened there. And if they hadn't done the trailers the way that they'd done it, it would have given away too much.
Yeah, well,
and
yes.
It's a sort of story that, you know, things happen in the story early on. They happen very quickly. So you have to, you couldn't have done anything without giving away the story. It's such a heavy story-driven game.
You don't need a 20-minute trailer. Just keep it simple.
But they weren't 20-minute trailers. They were 2-3-minute trailers.
Yeah, but
same as a movie trailer.
How long's that story? We're talking like 20 hours?
Yeah.
If you can't cut a 20-hour story into 2 minutes without giving away the story, it's probably something wrong. You've cut it wrong.
But then again, if you're talking about, I think somebody mentioned something. I don't remember where. I can't see where it is. It was in the chat there. Oh, here we go. The Grejio. Oh, it was you, Greg. You said the R2-D2 scene in Force Awakens trailer never happened. But see, there was quite a few of the Last of Us videos that were put out that weren't in the game. That was just like an action sequence that was just made to show off the game, but wasn't actually in the game. I don't mind that. But it's when they actually show a part of the game, but change it up to the point where it is completely different. I'm not hating on it for it, because I thought it was brilliant. I don't care that it was different, but there are a lot of people pissed off about that. And I'm just sympathising with it. I actually don't think that they're being too harsh. I wouldn't complain about it myself, but you know what the internet's about. They're all about complaining about shit, and it's happening. And I just thought I'd bring that up, and it's interesting to get their point of views. There's me, who I'm understanding but don't care. There's Snoogs, who just thinks they're snowflakes and bullshit. And then there's Greg, who, I don't know, kind of guess agrees with me, but
yeah, I do. I look as long as I was happy with the product at the end, I can probably forgive it.
And that's why I don't mind, is because I was happy with it anyway. So bring it on.
But at the same time, I think it's just a poor choice on their behalf. They could. There's other ways of hiding the story without deliberately misleading people.
Yeah, and the difference between this and the release, the Snyder Cut, I think we still got something good.
Oh, shots fired.
Wow. My attitude towards it's probably revolves around a lot of the other shit going on in regards to The Last of Us Online. So, bunch of snowflakes, get over it. Video Game Hall of Fame. The inductees have been narrowed down, and we have a new list of, I think it's 4 that have been inducted. So do you guys even know that this is happening and going along?
No. Okay,
so apparently if you're going over to Twitter, at Museum of Play is a World Video Game Hall of Fame. You know, this is the sort of thing to do. So they had a full range of nominees that were in the finalist category for this current induction, which was Bejeweled, Centipede, Frogger, GoldenEye 007, Guitar Hero, King's Quest, Minecraft, NBA Jam, Nokia Snake, Super Smash Brothers, Melee, Uncharted 2, or Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Classic.
That's classic, yes. So the winners are Bejeweled, Centipede, King's Quest, and Minecraft. So they're the 4 latest ones. King's Quest, I really enjoyed that a long time ago. Bejeweled, I think everyone's played Bejeweled as soon as it comes on the phones.
Oh, that was addictive as hell when I first played that.
Yep.
Yeah, it still is. I can remember having...
And all the iterations of it.
Yeah. I can remember many years ago having to remove it from my phone because I'd sit in traffic playing it. Centipede is from way back when. That's from back in the arcades. And, of course, Minecraft is just, I think it's the top-selling game of all time now. So,
yeah. It's 10 years and still on the charts.
Yeah, 10 years and it's still top of the chart, still going strong and strong.
Anything that makes GTA 5 look shit still.
Yeah, so they were actually released today, I believe, which I thought was pretty cool.
Cool.
I don't know what it entails. There's nothing really that I've got of, what happens or
people
where
decided.
It goes or where it gets decided or, it just gets put up in a frame somewhere. I don't really know. But, they're the new inductees, so that's pretty cool. Lucas.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk has been delayed.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's any surprise to people. I'm pretty sure the news What's that? Coronavirus?
Corona.
Well, I don't know. They haven't particularly blamed coronavirus, but I'm pretty sure everybody has heard by now that Cyberpunk even 2077 has been delayed again. Now, it was originally meant to be released on the 16th of April, if you remember that date, 2020. Mm-hmm. It was then delayed till the 17th of September 2020 and has now been delayed again until the 19th of November 2020. And Skrill in the chat is saying, what? News to me? Is it really? I'm sorry to be the bearer of this bad news. But yes, this game that almost everybody in the entire world who plays video games is excited to get their hands on, going to be a little bit longer. And okay, he was just being a dick, he says. Good work, dick. But yeah, so that's a total of 3 release dates that we've got so far for 2077. However, that's sort of starting to become commonplace among these big, massive AAA titles, because I also do believe that The Last of Us Part 2 had 3 release dates as well, which has finally been released, thank God. CD Projekt Red has emphasised in their statement about the delay is that they're committed to releasing the game when it's done. So shut the fuck up. You'll get it when it's ready.
Which is beautiful news. I love that.
And you know what? I think the majority of people on the internet, unlike normal irrational morons that are on the internet, are pretty fine with it. You're CD Projekt Red. You don't ruin games so far. No. So if you think that you need more time to get this game ready, then for God's sakes, you take that time. And I'm a little bit the same. I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed. It is quite a delay. It's a couple of months. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're going to eventually get it. Hopefully, when I'm excited for something like this, in the back of my mind, I'm like, please don't die before I get my hands on 2077, and the same thing for like The Last of Us Part 2. I'm like, you know what? As long as I don't die in a car wreck before I get to play the final story of The Last of Us Part 2, I'm happy. And then the day you go and get the next gen console and you put it in the car seat, and those photos are going to come soon when people are putting their PS5s and Series X in their front seat, and they put the seatbelt on it, and they take the photo and they put it on Twitter saying, I got my priorities right. And then you drive home and you're on the way home and you're like, please don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, at least until I play this new console. That's the sort of thing that I feel with this game. As long as I don't die before I get to play 2077, I'll be happy. There you go. Delayed again. It's coming.
Apparently it is actually ready though.
Well, yeah, but they're prettying it up. They're fixing all the bugs and shit.
Yeah. So there's actually certain parts of the media who are under embargo until after the Night City party or something. That's like they're doing a piece on it, which I believe's on the 25th, which is later this week. Yeah. All right. Well, look, keep going with the DualSense controller.
Yes, now, we did hear about this new controller a little while ago for the PlayStation 5, and, mixed emotions. People didn't like it, people liked it, people said it looked like it was wearing like a singlet or a bra or something like that. I don't know, whatever. I thought it looked good. However, there's a little bit of information that's come out from one of the devs of Ratchet & Clank A Rift Apart, and he explains a little bit how the DualSense, what are they called? The triggers will actually work. The adaptive triggers, they're called.
Yeah.
And I thought it was quite interesting in the way he explained it. And he said, it also lets you know how the weapon is behaving. One of the examples is the Enforcer. It's a double-barreled shotgun. It uses the adaptive triggers to give you tension as you're moving your finger down halfway. You can fire one barrel. You can pull it all the way, and you can fire both barrels. But all along the way, you can feel the difference between the tension tightening up. So it sounds like these are going to be, like on the Elite controller, you can adjust, am I correct in saying this? Because I don't own one. You can adjust the tension of the trigger, or is it just the trigger throw that you can adjust?
No, the trigger throw you can adjust.
Okay, but you can adjust the tension of the thumbsticks. Is that right? Am I imagining that? Or is that a thing?
No.
Okay.
No, you can on the...
Two.
The Raycon.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yes.
The Nacon, sorry, the Nacon Revolution. Yeah, right. You can adjust the the tension and the throw on that one.
Yes.
Right, okay. Well, I'm thinking it's kind of like that on the trigger, but it's done electronically as opposed to something you adjust. So the developers can make the trigger be harder to press or softer to press in the game. So it'll just be on the fly depending on what you're doing.
The creative force feedback for your triggers.
Well, yeah, but it's not just force feedback. It's actually resistance. You know what I mean? So you'll pull it and it'll probably give a little bit and be like the click of a trigger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
I'm interested in that.
Should we?
I think that's cool.
Should we put a disclaimer in the edit that no Karens are allowed to listen to this?
What? Why?
Because it'll just
What did I do?
they're teaching kids how a real gun feels.
Oh, right. but yeah, I thought that was interesting and a good example of something new that's coming to the controller.
Yeah.
Like they kind of just said, oh yeah, we've got adaptive triggers. And we're like, what the hell is that? What's adaptive triggers? You know, I don't know what that means. Yep. And this was a good example of what that is. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more information to come. But that was something that came out very recently and gives a little bit of a explanation of what that is. I can't wait to see more of what's coming, and it's going to be one hell of a fight, I think, between the PlayStation 5 and the Series X. I think the leader of the next generation is going to be blurred, I think, and I'm very happy for that, because when there's good competition, the people that win are us. We get the best.
Yes.
That's right. So yeah, keen on that.
Good stuff. Greg, we're going to finish it out with you. Can you tell us all that you know about a new skateboarding game?
Yes, Skate 4. So I know they've spelled skate correctly.
Yep.
That's the first thing I know. I know it's the fourth game in the Skate franchise, which is also a good thing to know. It has skateboards.
Yeah. And it's coming. We don't know.
It's coming. Probably on concrete. You'll probably be able to skate on concrete. I'm pretty sure about that. maybe some rails. I'm sure there'll be rails.
Is that literally all they've announced? They've just told us the title?
That is it, mate. So I threw this at Greg before we started because there is no information.
No, I was dumb enough to even go and go, I should probably bone up and have a watch. And I was like, yeah, now I see why you did that to me.
There is nothing. So the EA Play was late last week. It was the showcase in the digital showcase instead of E3. The guy that was presenting the showcase did really well with not much.
Oh no, he did a lot of talking for nothing.
Yeah, look, there's all the staples from EA, and even to the point where they released the details for Skate 4 and that it's coming. That's about it.
It must be skateboard games, because this is kind of like when Sessions was first announced at E3. And it's did like this. Only there was more in Sessions. We actually got a video, even though it was like it's clearly a skateboard gaming, and that's all I know about it. But yeah, it's something really weird about the fact that they just keep it very aloof.
Yeah, and it was apparently the internet won. I think they said something along those lines. All your messages made sure that we were.
We cannot believe you commented this into existence.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, the Skate 3 came out in 2010, so okay, that was a while ago.
Okay, that's been around for a bit. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Well, that's it for the show, boys.
We're done.
We are done. So, how about some last words?
Let's do some last.
All right. Before we get into the full last words, Atan, Azrael, Radicus, Skrill, the Wraith, and Uncle Chunt. My voice gave out then. Thanks for joining us live. I hope you've had a bit of fun. I've tried not to look at the chat too much tonight because I'm always getting distracted by the weird shit you put up there. Don't start now. Last words from me is we're going to have a break for a couple of weeks. So it's this time of the year. We're about halfway through the year now, and it's about time for a bit of a refresh. So we're going to have the next 2 weeks off, peoples. We'll still be around doing the usual things, just not the podcast for a couple of weeks.
Lazy fuckers, he says, Radicus. Thanks, man. Yes, we're going to come back.
Love you too, mate.
With a new podcast, and it's going to be called The New Aussie Gamers Experience. And you know what's going to be new about it? The word new in the title. And that is it.
That's it. It's going to have a Radicus band.
Oh, Wraithy and Radicus will take over. Yeah, right. We'll see how that goes.
Any other last words, boys? Luke?
Let me see. I wrote something down here. No, we've cleared that. Yep, we've gone through that. No, I'm good. I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
All right, Greg.
Look, I'll sort something out for next Monday for all you guys that got nothing doing. Love hanging out with us. Since the other two will be busy that Monday, I won't be. So watch this space. I'll do something for you.
Live stream in your undies.
Live stream something. Well, maybe not that. I'll do something. Sort something out.
He'll have a shirt on.
Definitely. I won't have pants on.
Just
like
no pants.
Like the last time we did a video thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, dude, sit down, would you? Jesus.
Oh, yeah, you guys can play Ark.
Let's play Ark.
All right.
We'll see.
All right, guys. Aussie Gamers TV and Snoogs Vision over on Twitch. Don't forget to come and say g'day. And Grejio XBL over on the Instagrams. All right, so that's it, boys. Let's close up the show, shall we?
Yep.
Good. Thank you very much to everyone that's listened to the show, and especially those that are still listening this far along. Don't forget to continue any of the topics that we have discussed on this show over in our Discord channel. And while you're at it, hit up our website, www.thehxp.com. Links, as always, are in the podcast show notes and descriptions. Once again, that's all from me. As always, I've been Snoogs.
And I've been Lucas.
I have been Grejio.
Yes.
Bye-bye, dude.
Well, that's the end of another show, and if you're still listening to this part of the show, then know this, we love you. Come and join our exclusive Agents of Age group on Discord using the link in the description. Just join the server and say hi, quoting, "May the age be with you," and you will be added as an Agent of Age. Subscribe to this podcast using the links that are in the description for your convenience. Thanks again, we love you lots. See you next time on the official podcast of the Aussie Gamers Experience.